Well, how we doing, YouTubers? Yeah, John Deere 110. As you can see, the hood's been cut off. It is an 8-horse Kohler. It is, looks like it's missing a head tin. It definitely needs some work. It's got parts off of it on the deck. Somebody's added this trailer hitch and U-bolt. I think we're gonna probably try to remove this U-bolt. We're gonna get some green on this, make it look a little better. But we're planning to use this thing. As you can see, it's not too bad. It's missing the belt cover here. I don't even remember how they attach. It's got the wrong muffler. I believe these had a muffler that went around and down and out. So I'm gonna have to see a buddy of mine and see if he's got the right muffler. Probably gonna have to see about getting a hood too, because I want a hood that comes out like it's supposed to. Well, that doesn't look too bad. But what we have is a no start. And I did not bring my battery pack out to see what it's doing, but nevertheless, let's see if you can see me here. My stool's a little short, so let's lower this down some. Sorry if I'm in your way here. Yeah, something I ought to do. And we'll latch it because we want to make sure that if it does fall, we're good. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop this hood open and remove this white grill. So that we can see what we're dealing with here. Put the key back in it. This boy took the key out of it. Yep, we got good throttle cables. Just wanted to check those to see what we got. This might be a multi-part video. This might just be a long video. I don't know. I'm starting to figure out things, so I don't know if you can see in there or not. I'm gonna take the air cleaner off. I haven't even seen this thing turn over yet, so I know that it does. So we're just gonna go from there. First thing we're gonna do is take the air cleaner off. Then we're gonna get a hold of my buddy this morning or early afternoon or some point today. And he's on Facebook too, or on YouTube too. It's called Small Engine Garage. He's out of up by Lansing. He specializes in John Deere parts. So keep that in mind if you're ever looking for John Deere parts. There's definitely people out there that do. So I think I might put you guys on pause and then come back to this here in a few minutes and go grab my battery pack so I can see what we're dealing with. So I'll pause you guys and I'll probably stitch this together. So okay, so probably edit a lot of this actually, but nevertheless, I went and got my battery pack so we can make sure this thing is in neutral and crank it over and see what we have. We'll probably try charging the battery, even though I imagine it won't charge. Can't hurt. Try it and see if it will. Sure. Have some oil in it. I gotta find a dipstick for it. It's hardly got anything in it. Be fine to turn it over and check it out. Make sure it's in neutral. Said it needed the carburetor cleaned and maybe needed the points cleaned. I don't remember now. Found it on Facebook, paid $300 for it, so hopefully we have something. And we are dead. So maybe I should have tried that first, huh? Intriguing. We have no voltage. I wonder why we have no voltage. So, I guess that's our first problem. Got to figure out why we have no voltage. If I can find my test light after I moved everything around the other day to get my stuff in here. See if we can find our test light. That's our first tool we need. Bad batteries so bad that they just won't work. Let's find out what we have. we test light across, so that's a good sign. Ooh, we know we got power coming in. And power going across. Now, first problem we got looks to be, so we have no crankety crank. Guess we need crankety crank to make them run, huh? Well, folks, stand by here while we check this out. Gonna test light a few places and see what's going on here. Power to the solenoid, and no power across the solenoid. So that means one of our safety switches is probably acting up. Would be my guess. Either one of our safety switches is acting up or our key switch, but in this instance, one of our safety switches is verified by the fact that when I test light it, it does not light up. So, grab a jumper wire here, clip it on the battery, or on the solenoid. Yes, hopefully our starting fluid hasn't ran away on us. Okay, so we got crankety crank now. Let's put a little starting fluid in it and see if it will start. And let's hope that it does, but I assume that it's got no spark. Quick way to know if it's a spark or fuel problem. A little carburetor cleaner or something volatile in the carburetor or intake. Okay, we have a carburetor, or we have a spark problem. So, since we've done our quick way now, that's our quick way. Next we'll grab one of these guys. I have several different kinds. I like this one. My dad gave it to me. Nothing special. Don't even know where he got it really. But I just grab it usually because I like it. So my thoughts are, and I'll bring you guys over here for the ride so you can see what I'm doing. It's, let me grab that light out of there. It's in line with the spark plug. So we're going to turn the key on. And we got this mighty fine jumper wire going to the solenoid since we have power, but it just won't work. No spark. Pretty quick answer to our question of what we need to do next. So we'll shut this hood down, shed some light in here. We're gonna take this cover off here. So we'll switch you guys back on my favorite little stool here. I know it's hard to see from my stool, but we're gonna pop that little cover off. We may not take both screws out, I don't know. It's a good old Kohler, so it ain't no big thing. Worked on lots of these. Very familiar with Kohlers. I don't see my magnet bins. Oh, my garage is a mess right now. There's a magnet bin. Let's see, we need a shorter screwdriver to get to that one. So, what do we have in here? So many screwdrivers. Just gotta find one that's a little bit shorter. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that bottom screw loose. We're gonna file these points. An old school trick I learned from an old guy. Let's take a screwdriver and arc them back and forth. I don't really particularly like to do that, but it will clean corrosion off if you're in a bind. I suppose it works. I think I'm gonna try to just peel this cover back enough to do what I need to do in here. They look pretty dirty. So, yeah, they look pretty dirty, so we're gonna go ahead and try to clean them up. Since seems like buying car parts right now is a little tough. I don't know locally what's going on. We can't seem to buy any parts, so it is what it is. But we're gonna try cleaning these with a points file real quick. Actually, let's try a little emery cloth because they look pretty bad. So we'll just emery cloth them. Get yourself some emery cloth. as handy as can be for doing this stuff. I know I'd like to show you a little more. I'm gonna try to get this cover right out of here. I'm gonna try to get this cover out of here and I'll show you what we got going on. It's a little tough to do if you've never done it. Heck, it's even tough for those of us that have done it. So unfortunately, I just don't want to mess with that screw. That screw is going to be a pain. So spin you around here. Working in here. If it'll focus. Right there where my finger's at, that black, there's a, you see that opens up? Those are contact points. If those don't make contact with each other, it won't run. It won't make any spark. So we're going to go ahead and use memory cloth in there and clean them up. Knock the corrosion off in there. Anything that sits is bound to get moisture in it, which then in turn makes this corrosion appear. You can use a points file, but I like emery cloth a lot of times when you're heavy on corrosion. I think it helps knock it out of there a little quicker than a points file. Let's get some. And the other thing that I like to use too is a little bit of electrical contact cleaner. Electronic cleaner, contact cleaner. It to me makes a little bit of difference, so I definitely like to use it where I can. It's just sometimes getting it sprayed in there. You can use air to blow them out, but the contact cleaner helps clean them too, so you have to keep that in mind when you're doing this stuff too. You want to clean it. You're trying to clean it, you're trying to make it work. So I don't like pulling ignition points if I don't need to. It's just an added step that sometimes is not really worth taking. Looks like we might have to take that step. I don't see any spark, but make it spark, so let's give it a little ether and see if we can make it spark and start here. Sounds like it's got compression, so let's see what happens with a little ether, a little throttle. So unfortunately, we thought we were going to try a shortcut, but we're not. So just got to struggle with this bottom screw. Hopefully we can get it. Sorry if this is taking too long, guys, and you're watching this video. I do apologize. Sometimes I like to be a little quicker than I am right now, but time is money. Money is time, if you know what I mean. World revolves around time. Another thing that a lot of guys will do on these coolers is they'll slot this bottom hole so that the cover pulls right off, which I think we'll probably end up doing. Should we decide to keep this thing. I don't like fighting with this bottom screw, and they put it in such a convenient place. A lot of times you run into these with the narrow frame Cubs where you just can't even get a screwdriver in there. So a guy will sit in there and he'll slot these a lot of guys will slot the covers. Just to make their life easier. And I wish somebody had done that here, but they have not. So there we go. got the screw loose and out. Some guys will leave that bottom screw right there, they'll leave that out. Or they'll, like I was saying, they'll slot it right there so that you can put the screw in and you just slide that down and rock it into place. We're not going to worry about it. So it is what it is. We don't really care. I don't have another set of these points right now on hand. So we're just going to go ahead and do what's necessary to clean them up. The wire's pretty brittle. Maybe we can't take them off and clean them out. But let's see if we can get them cleaned up a little better. I don't know if I can get these off easily or not. So if you don't know, the points gap is about 20 thousandths on these, just in case you wondered. So if you're ever in the future where you're dealing with one of these old Kohlers, points gap is usually about 20 thousandths. As you can see, that's your breaker points right there. That's how they work. They have spring, power comes in here, and so forth and so on. So now that they're out, you can see how dirty they really are. And a lot of times I like to just take that screw out that holds that wire, and then you can sometimes take them to the wire wheel and clean them up. Hopefully I don't have too many piled against it here. I can use it. Get that corrosion cleaned out. Quick little clean out with that, just to shine them up nice. Little contact cleaner in there to help clean them up. Now we got to put that spring, that screw back in the spring, which is typically difficult to do. It's not terrible. It's just difficult. That's all. Now they're nice and clean in there, and so I hope they're gonna make good contact. I'm gonna drag a file through them real quick. I got room to do that. The file, when you use a points file, that's more for flattening out the pits than it is cleaning them. Just in case anybody wondered why we do that, it's more to flatten the pits than clean them. And if you're not used to dealing with points, you do want to be cautious about doing things, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can make a mistake and you can have a problem in the future. So, if not in the right now. So, just a word of caution. Hard part is getting that screw back in, especially when you can't flop the motor on its side or something like that to hold the screw in place. So you just have to be patient. I don't know if I can show you guys. See, like that right there, I dropped it. And it looks like I lost the washer that goes on it too. That's okay. I think we'll be okay without the washer, but don't have to be. So fortunately that fell and I found it. So we're gonna do the next best step, which we'll step over to Dad's old toolbox and fetch out an old standby, which is an old screwdriver set that he had. It's a that's a magnet bit set. Love this set. They quit making this set many years ago. You can't buy it anymore, so I take good care of it now that he's gone, and Absolutely love this set. I always have for doing little stuff like this right here where I gotta put a screw in, but I can't quite get it without dropping it. I do believe somewhere I have some screw starters for doing this kind of thing, but I don't know, something about using Dad's old tools really is alright. You know, he made his living a lot of his life with these, and it's kind of nice sometimes to just use some of Dad's old stuff. So I like to push them open a little bit and then roll the engine and make sure that the points are open fully. Make sure they're fully open. Walk over to your handy dandy feeler gauges and find your 20, which I don't have my 20 in this one set, so I believe it's 20 thousandths, and so we're going to set them at 20, and should be fairly close. If it's going to run, it'll run, so that's the way I've always seen it and dealt with it. So usually if you're close, they'll run, and you don't have to worry about it. There's an actual way to set timing on a Kohler. We're not going to go into that today. We really don't have time. We just want to see if it's going to make spark and pop off. That's all we're after at the moment. Just will it run, and then we'll go through and figure out what we need to do to make it keep running. So I always try to put this back when I'm done using it because I don't want to lose it. It's kind of important to me. So now that we've done that, let's turn the key on. And here, guys. I'm sorry, my video skills are poor. Now we have spark. So now we're going to see if we can make it run. Hopefully you guys can see this. Little ether. So it will run. So there we are. Step one figured out. We have spark now. So ether is a good step just to see if you have spark. And you know, it's a good step just to see if. It's not a end-all step like, oh yeah, that's definitely gonna fix the problem. Do not think that you can run your engine off of ether. It's not good for it. Don't do it. They did tell me it needed the carburetor clean. I don't know if I really want to pull the carburetor. It needs a new fuel line. So I think I'm going to end the video here, and I'll pick up later today, and I'll probably edit some of this out, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end here. I didn't put the points wire back on. I'm going to go ahead and do that, probably put the points cover back on, and probably head to work here shortly, and maybe this afternoon I'll make some more videos. I'm going to take the air cleaner cover off, more than likely, and I may even pull that carburetor before I go to work. I'm not going to video any of that at the moment, and I'm probably going to pull the deck off of it today and throw the battery charger on it this morning. Again, I probably won't video any of that just because it's pretty mundane and pretty simple. You guys already probably know how to do that. So, anywho, I'm at least going to pull the deck and throw a battery charger on it. And probably pull the fuel line. We'll see if I pull a carburetor or not. So yeah, well, why don't we go ahead and do that? Maybe I'll edit some of this out. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it together and you guys can see my goofiness or stupidity or whatever you want to call it. But let's go ahead and pull the air cleaner anyways. First thing we're going to do is drop the screw on the floor. I'll probably just stitch these together and upload this video this evening, because I probably won't do much this evening with it. I've got some other things I need to accomplish. The John Deere transaxle I've got dropped off. I really like to get that case split and figure out what all I need to do to fix the input shaft. And I need to get a hold of my buddy up in, it's not Williamston anymore. I think it's Langsburg now. So I need to get a hold of him today and find out what he's got for parts and make some arrangements, because I'd like it. The factory muffler comes down in here and it exits in a hole on the side, so I'd like to have that in it. Because I can tell it's going to be pretty noisy to start with. If you guys have never worked on these, there's a clip that holds the throttle cable. Let me move my light so that it's not blinding you folks. There's a clip that holds the choke cable on. You just pop that clip off. Pretty simple. Usually you can do it with your fingers. It's a little metal clip on the flat bar. Pretty simple. And then you just pull the choke cable off to the side. Some cases you can wiggle them off. There's enough cable. Some cases you can't. So just be aware of that. Hopefully there's a clamp on the fuel line when you get there. If there isn't, then you know how to get a fuel line off. We're going to take a razor blade or a pair of pliers or something to get that fuel line off. We're going to replace all the fuel line from the gas tank out. We'll put a fuel shutoff in it outside the hood where you can reach it. Something I like to do. You never don't know. And as you can, I hope you can, I don't know if you can see that. I'll bring you in if you can see that. But I went to pull that fuel line off, and that's how rotten it is. There's where the clip goes. That just holds the cable in place. And so pretty simple stuff. I didn't figure you needed to see that. I might wait till I get to work this morning. I don't think I'm going to video taking the carburetor apart, just because I'm going to take it to work with me and get it done there. Couple reasons I do that, and the biggest one being I'm there 6, 7, 8 hours. I got time. If I got time to do it there, I'll just go ahead and take care of it, because nobody cares. Rather than stand and do nothing, I like to do something. I get pretty bored and want to do something. So this way I kind of solve two birds, and can definitely be moving ahead in my day. In this instance, we just want to do things, we just want to get these things accomplished. Like, we're going to remove the mower deck, which is this front piece, and one lift arm looks like it's already off, so we don't have to remove that, and a belt. Now, you do want to remember which way the belt went, but in this case we're not going to worry about it, because we'll just do like we always do and guess and stumble. Have to take it back off is the worst thing that happens. So just keep that in mind. That's the worst that'll happen if you don't have the belt right. You just got to take it off and put a different twist in it. So we're going to find out if this thing will run. I'm going to take the carburetor probably with me today to work, tinker with it while I'm at work. Hopefully the float's all right. But if it's not, we'll get an Amazon carburetor. We don't do eBay a lot, just because it's faster to get it off Amazon. If I order it off Amazon, I can usually have it same day, or not same day, but next day, or 2 day in this case. So I'd like to have it for the weekend if I have to go that route. I'd like to know this morning so I can order one and have one here. Usually you have to draw out the throttle plate to fit the throttle rod, as they don't drill big enough for some reason, but whatever, that's a pretty simple job. And then you just twist the carburetor around and get the cable off. Remember which hole your throttle rod was in, because it does make a difference in how much RPM it pulls. Looks like the gasket stayed. Then you can wiggle your bolts out. As you can see, I'm just kind of setting my tools down and just wiggling bolts out. I like to give them a shake, but at any rate, yeah. So there we have it. 8 horsepower carburetor off. Of course, as you've seen, I lowered the deck down, and we'll take our light over here. I'm not going to video this really, because it don't matter. There's like 5 attachment points, it seems like, but there's 4. Can't take that pin off. Now that I've got the deck down, I can bring you guys over and show you. You've got your attachment points here. Those 2 move out or outward to pull the pin out of the end there. You have, I don't know if you can see this, 2 of these arms that drop down from your lift arms. One's disconnected and already, which it came that way. And then these on both sides, you pull this T-bar out and that arm drops down. And of course you got to remove your belt, but we'll do that after we remove it from the front. Obviously you can remove it here as well, which we're not going to do right now. We'll wait till we get the deck loose. And I'm going to slide the deck out from underneath of it. Because it needs some work. We knew that before we bought the tractor, that the deck needed a little bit of work. It was a little rough. So that's not of a concern to us. We already knew that. We knew that we had some issues to work with, and I noticed that it doesn't have the spring helper on it, which is fine. Don't really need that. It is kind of neat. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it did have the front lift kit at one time. Unfortunately, the rod's gone. So it is what it is. So now we're going to pull this front plate just to make our life easier, because we got to pull this deck out from under the tractor. And we're in the garage on the lift table, so that makes life a little harder. Of course, you want to remove your belt. Make sure you remove your belt, because it'll hang up partway off the tractor and you'll be like, what did I do? Of course, we got to get some oil today so I can change the oil on it. Don't know if I have any left. I'll have to look around and see. I hope I have some oil, because that would be nice. But if we don't, we don't. And then I like to raise my deck and then slide it out. This is the first time removing a deck on my lift table, and I must say this is pretty convenient. And then you can see what all your deck needs once you remove it. It's going to be a noisy deck. It needs a belt. And the bearings in the rear idler are not good. Not a big issue. We're just going to run it. One of the deck wheels needed to be repaired anyways. We saw that. Blades look pretty decent. We're going to have to repair this one deck. Well, I may try to source another deck. It's got the tiny deck on it anyway, so we may try to source another, but I'm going to put this thing on the side. Get it away. So there you have it. I'm going to put a battery charger on this thing and go to work. So I'll stitch this together at some point and we'll go from there, guys. Thanks for watching.